Welcome to today's video. We are going to get right into this big transformation I want you to have because it's that important. 60 to 80-hour work weeks are not needed anymore. You can achieve everything you want to achieve, income jumping, eco-stacking, all of the important stuff that I talk about in 15 hours a week. Yes, 15 hours a week. So in today's video, I'm actually going to go through my 3 systems that I've created over my 20 years as an entrepreneur and in the last 10 years of selling over $100 million in sales so that you understand how I run 3 completely separate businesses, how I still only work about 15 hours a week, and I get to enjoy my life and my 4 beautiful kids and spend time with my husband. So let's get into it right now because I know you're sitting there asking, wait a minute, how are you doing it? Well, you really have to start with understanding that when you want to build something, we all start with a lot of effort. It has to. I mean, right now I am building my house of Cortessa, which is a private society for women. And that is a lot of work. It's not as much of actionable work, but it's a lot of brain work. I have to think about it. What do I want it to be? What's the point of it? Who's going to come in? How am I going to set up the system? There's a lot of back end thought process that has to go into this to create it. Then you have the experience live in Nashville, which I'm so excited about, happening in January. But again, it's the same thing. It's brand new. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of thought process that has to go into it. But at the end of the day, if I do everything right, you don't have to be working those 60 to 80-hour weeks. Let me take you back a little bit in my story. So about 7 years ago, that was the first time I had made over $500,000 that I took home privately to myself, not the business, into my own income. And it changed everything for me. Well, the biggest thing was I hit the biggest goal of my life at the time. The second thing was I thought, holy moly, if I have to work this hard to make this kind of money every single year, I think I'm gonna die. I had 2 little kids and a brand new baby, and it was so overwhelming for me. So at that moment in time, I told myself, I need to change something. I cannot be part of this hustle culture anymore. I can't listen to people who scream, do more, work more, keep going, push harder. It was killing me. That was the pivotal moment in my life that changed everything. That's where these 3 systems I'm going to talk about today actually formed and came out of it. Over the last 7 years, I have implemented them in multiple businesses, refining them to a point where I can almost implement it in anything, which is why I teach it to you. This is why my coaching is all based around these, because it works. People don't talk about it because they don't know how to do it. And they don't get involved in understanding that you can really, truly work less if you have the right systems in place. And so that was a journey over 7 years of figuring this out, understanding it, and building on what I wanted, which was really a lazy business, right? How many of you want a lazy business? That's what I live. That's what I wanted. I realized that to make $500,000 where I take it home to myself in my own pocket, to work so hard for that every single year. I was neglecting my husband. I was neglecting my children. I had a brand new baby, no joke. And he would be on me, or I was nursing him, or I had him. Like, I was working like crazy, but not stopping to enjoy that I just had a brand new baby. Because in my mind, I thought, and I know you might be thinking this too, if I hit that $500,000, man, if I had $500,000 sitting in my bank account right now, everything would be great. Yes, but no. Right? I realized in that moment that I was working towards a goal, not enjoying the journey. So I'm all about enjoying the journey now. So when we are having this discussion today, I'm going to take you through the 3 systems, but I'm going to explain in each system why living in the journey is so much more than living in the goal. The goals are going to come and go. We are ambitious women. We are always going to set new goals. And when I first made my first million, I was like, oh, I can make 2 million. And when I started growing my net worth bigger and bigger and bigger, right? I'm a multimillionaire. When I did that, I was like, oh, I can do more. And now I have a goal just inside my coaching business to grow it to $10 million. That's just inside one business. I am ambitious. You're ambitious. We don't sit on the sidelines and say, oh, I made a couple $100,000. I'm good. We're like, oh, I made a couple $100,000. Huh? How can I make the next one? How can I go the next one? But we get that fear, and I call it shadow success, where it creeps in. We think we're doing great. We're not feeling it. It's struggling. It's hard. We're kind of a little down on ourselves. We're overwhelmed. And when we look at the next income jump, we stop and we go, whoa, That's great. No, I don't want to do more work. I'm tired already. Like, I'm really tired, right? And it pulls us back because we're in fear and we don't do it. Income jumps are absolutely critical. You have the goal, you have the ambition. Let's enjoy the journey. Let's make our income jumps effortless so that you can truly enjoy the life you have. Because you know what? You only have one life. I have gotten so sick. I have almost died 4 times in my life. The last time I almost died, about 2 years ago, that was the closest I've ever gotten. Like 15 minutes to completely dying. And that was something that kind of jolted me awake, where I was like, I'm not living this life. I'm not going to live like this anymore. I need to enjoy every moment. I want to enjoy these little ones. And I'm going to throw a quick story because I just want to show you how cute life is when you stop to listen. This morning, my 6-year-old and my 9-year-old were having breakfast and we're getting ready to head out the door for the bus. I told my 6-year-old, hey, Michael, I put items with nuts in your lunch today. You cannot sit at the nut-free table. You have to sit at the regular table. And I have to tell him because the school has nut-free and regular. And so I want to make sure he doesn't sit at the table. And he goes, no, Mom, I can't do that. And I go, Michael, why? And he goes, because then I'm going to have to sit at the girls' table. I go, the girls' table? What's wrong with sitting at the girls' table? He goes, Mom, you don't understand. What if someone walks by? And I'm sitting here going, this is a 6-year-old. And I'm like, what do you mean, Michael, if someone walks by? Mom, girls have cooties. I can't sit with the girls. And I look and I go, does mommy have cooties? And then my 9-year-old goes, you're not a girl. And I go, what am I then? And he's like, oh, no, you're a woman. You're not a girl. And I go, you all have cooties by association with me, so don't worry about being with the girls. They don't have cooties. They're fine. This was the conversation that I got to fully engage with this morning with no rushing, no urgency. No, this has to happen today. It was the funniest conversation, and I will probably remember it for the rest of my life. If you're not sitting down and you're not truly in these moments, maybe your kids are older, right? Maybe they're babies, whatever it might be. You need to be able to sit and enjoy the moments. If your kids are older and you're by yourself, when's the last time you stood out on your deck or your front porch and just took a breath and just watched the birds? I did it the other day. I watched the cardinals, the blue jays. I had a blue jay jump in a puddle of water and I'm sitting there drinking my coffee and I'm watching it and he's playing in the water. He's literally splashing around, having fun in the water. That made me happy. I was like, that's kind of cool to see. So I want you to be able to take moments in your life where you can truly enjoy it. So let's get into the 3 systems that I created that have helped me to be able to just enjoy the journey. All right, let's start with system number 1. I call it the lazy effect. Yes, I'm going to call it that because that's what it is. It is extreme efficiency. Okay, let's stop for a second because people hear efficiency and they're like, Christina, I heard this before. I know what you mean. I have to just build systems and I'm fine. Let it reoccur. I don't have to do the same steps. No, this is completely different. Maybe someone talks about it. I don't think I've ever heard anyone talk about it this way, but this is the way I live my life with my businesses. I sit down and I say, how can I make this task, what I'm doing, be the laziest thing ever? I want to be lazy. I don't want to do it. How can I make it so simple, so effortless, so easy that it feels like I'm being lazy? That is the mindset that I put into everything that I do. So let me give you an example. If you've been following me, you know that I let go of all my support staff in October. That means I am a solopreneur. I run 3 businesses as a solopreneur. Yes. Now, let me take a sidetrack real quick about the businesses so you could understand where I'm coming from. My first business is my property management company. They are my properties. Yes, it needs to be managed. There's a lot to do at the end of the year. And there's a lot to do when I do tax time because my tax time's later in the next year. The second one is my real estate business. This is where I have my own real estate company and I help clients buy and sell property. And I also do renovations for them as well. That's a day-to-day job. I need to be communicating with clients. I need to help them find properties. I need to manage and run my contractors. I pick all the design for the home that I'm renovating. So there's a lot of moving parts. And funny thing is, I have streamlined that one so much. It needs effort, it needs coordination, but the systems are so dialed in that I want to be lazy. Like, yes, each home I pick different tiles to match the home or different flooring to match the home. Yes, but I have a system and a process So it's fast and it gets done, and I'm not spending months and months working on it. And then you have my coaching business, which is completely separate from everything as well, where I help women entrepreneurs who have consistent sales and ready for income jumping, eco stacking, building an empire, so they can actually enjoy the life that they want. And so here in the coaching business that I have, this is one here I find it's a little bit different because I have a podcast. I have YouTube, which you're watching me on, but I also put my podcast as a live video on YouTube. So it takes more work just on content creation. Then I'm building the house of Cortessa, which I talked about, and the experience, which is live in Nashville, which is coming up here in January. So there's a lot of moving parts. Women who are entrepreneurs who are very ambitious, I wasn't liking where I was at. So I hired a YouTube coach, and his comments to me were, why are we just putting the audio on YouTube and not actually doing the recording? And I said, well, because I don't want to have to get all dressed up, or if I'm interviewing somebody, we didn't have to be all in production mode. And he said, yeah, but you're losing an opportunity. So fast forward, I am now uploading and doing production mode on my podcast as well. So there's double the work because I have to do the audio version and I have to do a YouTube ready version. When I took this over at the end of October, when I let go of my support staff that was helping me with editing videos and everything, I was putting in a ton of hours. It was too much. Like a podcast was taking almost 2 days to edit because there were a lot of spaces, a lot of off commentary, a lot of things that didn't make sense that I had to reorganize. I'm keeping up. But then I started going, where is the lazy effect? Because I am putting way too much time. I do 2 videos a week. I have to run the other businesses. I still am building and creating. I need time for thought, education, all this other stuff I do. I cannot take 2 days on one video. So then I told myself, how can I make it lazy? So I already was working with Descript, which by the way, absolutely love. I'm recording on it right now. It's a great program. And I said, I actually need to step back, take a little bit of time and really learn Descript so that I can understand what capabilities it has so that I can utilize it better. So I started doing that, and I realized that because I'm recording the interviews on Zoom for right now, I can drop it in and I could have their AI bot actually do a lot of the big editing for me, like reducing long pauses, taking out filler words. I could actually have it do and automate a lot of the zooms and cuts and different things for me. I could even have it do the music, but I found that it wasn't putting the music the way I liked it. It could do almost 70% of the video editing for me. I did the first one and it only took me 4 hours. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. And after that, I've gotten faster and faster. I came down to probably 2.5 hours for a 1 hour video, sometimes 4 if I really want to get jazzy, or we had a lot of pauses or a lot of back and forth that just didn't make sense. But I'm so pleased with myself. I cut down a lot of time, and I know as time goes on, this will cut down even more because I always put the lazy principle in effect. How can I be lazy doing this? So I want you to go into everything you're doing and just think with yourself, how can I be lazy? What can I do to be lazy? I think as women, we tend to get overcomplicated. At least I do. I know for a fact I do. But once I complicate it, then I realize I'm complicating it. I'm like, whoa, I just made that way more complicated than it has to be. How can I shortcut it, make it easier, and not put so much effort into it? And this is where we have to step back in our business and really look at this. So I'm going to give you one more example on this lazy effect because I think it's really cool. I just had my websites and landing pages, everything created. I mean, a full website, landing pages for the experience, landing pages for my House of Cortessa waitlist, a landing page for the experience waitlist once the doors close until the next one, thank you pages, emails, I mean, the whole kit and caboodle. I did it in 2 days. 2 days. I hired someone to actually create it. I created the copy, and yes, I was a little behind. Susie, I love you. She was like, girl, you need to get me that copy like by 8:30. And I was like, I'm going. But like in 2 days, I got that done. And guess what? I have more time. Instead of dragging something out and saying, I'm going to work on it for months and months and months to figure it out, I rather get to the deadline and be like, let's cram it out, get it done, and move on. I don't want to make something overcomplicated. I want to be lazy. That is system number 1, the lazy effect. Now let's talk about system number 2 is ecosystem stacking. This is the mechanism of freedom. It truly, truly is. And here's where I want to go with this thought. You have the scarcity trap and you have the abundance stack. I want to be very clear that if you want to work a 15-hour work week, you got to get out of the scarcity trap and be in the abundance stack. You have to understand that 60 hours is scarcity. You're thinking to yourself like, oh, I have to work more. I have to spend more. For every dollar that you're earning, you're losing a lot of time. It's a lot of time spent to get it. The idea is that when you move into the 15-hour work week and you're abundance stacking, the difference is you're looking at ways of stacking your ecosystem that you're building out so that you have more time. It's more abundant. You're going to look at the different systems you're creating. So I have Descript and I'm using that for editing. But if I don't have another simplified way of getting my YouTubes posted, then I'm spending hours at a time doing this. So the cool thing is I have a little sheet in Google Docs where I actually have all the main information that I'm always using there, easy grab. And then I take my transcript from Descript. I actually drop it into chat. I have it set up already. It's giving me the SEO pack description, keywords that are YouTube utilized, hashtags, all the stuff that I need in there already. It's like, boom. Then I asked it based on the transcript, what is the feeling of the thumbnail that I should have? How should it perceive? What words should I have on it? So it's already starting to generate this. Now, I know because I have a YouTube coach that a lot of people plan this in advance or they'll have a team that will help them do this. I'm solo, so I can't really get the advance done yet. I haven't really figured out how I want everything to flow, so I take it week by week. Now, with the way that I have it set up, I can upload a video on YouTube with everything I need within about 15 minutes. That's it. Even creating a thumbnail. So most of the time I spend is actually in the brain work, is thinking, is articulating, is figuring out what do I want to say. That's the hard stuff. But it's the 80-20 rule. I want to spend most of my time on the heavy brain work, on the thinking, the planning, the strategy, the laziness strategy, all these things more so than just working 60 hours a week or 80 hours a week and just being busy. It's important to understand that when you stack your systems, you solve bigger problems, you figure out how you can be lazy. Take these two systems so far, connect them together. You'll understand that it just starts flowing and you're like, oh, I have more time. I have nothing to do today. Then that's the next thing. You got to be comfortable with that. It takes a while. Trust me. I've gotten kind of to the point now where I'm like, oh, I can watch a movie today. I've done everything I need to do. There's nothing urgent I need to do right now. I think it's a good time to just take a break. So you'll have that as well. So really understanding then the 15 hours is doable because you're actually ecosystem stacking. You're taking your environment, you're taking what you're doing, you're in abundance. I can do so much in 15 hours a week. I don't have to spread it across 60 to 80 hours a week. If you sit down and you're still like, Christina, I'm still doing 80 hours a week, but I'm so massively busy, I'm doing so much, then I'm going to encourage you to step back, take a day and actually write, like pen and paper write, because there's something about our brain with pen and paper where you sit down and you think to yourself, okay, what am I actually doing? What activities? I remember I had a coach have me do this about 4 or 5 years ago. She was like, write down everything you're doing all day long. She was like, every hour, set a timer and you're going to write down what you did for the hour. And I was like, okay, this is so stupid. I was literally that person. I was like annoyed with it, but I pay them a lot of freaking money. So I'm going to listen to her. The funny thing, the first hour I wrote down and I was like, what did I really do? I know I did stuff. I was super busy. What did I really do? And then I was like, okay, I did this and this. And the next hour, same thing. And the next hour, by the 4th hour, I was like, what the heck am I doing in my business? Because it's been 4 hours and I'm not doing anything to move the needle. Why am I doing this stuff? Why am I sitting here trying to clean out my email inbox? Why am I trying to look at certain metrics that don't even apply? Why am I worried about stuff that I don't need to be worried about? This is where it all changes. Then when I started subtracting all of that and saying it's not important, it's not relevant, how can I be lazier at this? I started realizing I don't even need a fraction of that time. And this is where that 15 hours came from. Now, I want to put this plug in here as well because I think it's really important. I realized when I came in this online space and I took my coaching, which I've been doing for 6 years now, I brought it online and I realized, yes, there is a lot more. We need to have a website. We need landing pages. We need sales pages. We need all this stuff. And I get that. But remember, I just told you that I created everything I need to get people into the house of Cortessa, to sell my live experience, to get people on the wait list once that closes, everything I need in 2 days. And they weren't even full days. I started working at 10 a.m. with Susie, who helped me do it all, to 4 p.m. That's it. And we were done. So understand that, yes, there's more here, but how can we squeeze it together? How can we take all that we need to do and make it less work, make it a little bit lazy? So that's really important. So when you're really looking at the ecosystems and stacking, it's the different, like their ecosystems can be inside your actual business, how you're running everything. It could be multiple businesses, like I talk about eco stacking in terms of multiple businesses that make you a lot of money and help you grow. There's different ways, but when you're looking at eco stacking for your business, look at the elements. You have your back end, your front end, you have your thought process work, you have your design and implementation, right? You have your content. These are all elements and more of your ecosystem. We have to figure out, how do we stack those so that as we're stacking, they're clicking together almost like an effortless click. The best way I articulate to people, think of Legos. If you try to take a Duplo and you put it on a Lego, the Duplos, if you haven't had kids for a long time, they're the big Legos, and then the Legos are like these small little Legos. You try to stick it on, they don't click together, they don't work. The goal is that you need to put pieces of the business together that are stacking, so when they flow and they work, they're all in alignment and it makes it effortless. That's the whole point of all of this. Let's get into system number 3, which is my absolute favorite. I talk about it all the time. I'm writing my book about it. I coach on it. It's in the house of Cortessa. We're talking about it in the experience live in Nashville. This is income jumping. This is not go invest your money and make money. This is nothing you've probably heard of before. The way I look at income jumping, and I have been doing it for so long, find a bigger problem to solve. If you are in consistent sales and you are stuck, you need to find a bigger problem to solve. However, remember my first 2 systems that I'm telling you about, we need to stack them together. We cannot just say income jump, find a bigger problem, woohoo, we're done. It's find a bigger problem, but we gotta keep the lazy effect in place. We have to make sure we're ecosystem stacking. It's not just go create another offer, go create something else, make more freebies. No, we're not talking about that at all. It's simplifying the process. So with income jumping, you find a bigger problem. The way I like to look at it is almost business A, B, C, D, and so on down the line. I start with the business you have right now with your consistent sales. I look at it, I call it business A. I say, what do you want to do? You're charging, as one of the videos I had, the example was $2,500. So you're charging $2,500. You have consistent sales. You're doing really good, but you want to get to the next level. Let's say you want to make $300,000 more. Well, how do you get there without adding more time? We solve a bigger problem, but we can't charge $2,500, or we have to play the volume game, which means we have to feed more people into our system, which is really hard to do, takes more time, more money, and we're not being lazy with it. Because in all honesty, now we have to do ads, now we have to do more content, we have to do more events. Like, how can you really get lazy when you're adding more and more and more? It is hard. So instead, I say we look at it this way. Business A, we're going to pick out the 3 things that are working exceptionally well. This could be the offer. This could be your evergreen. This can be a freebie. We pull those 3 to business B. Business B is now your new business. We don't change anything. We're not selling something different. None of that changes. We are solving a bigger problem. We find what's working, what people like, what their struggles are, and then what's their next level problem we're solving. That's what we're doing, right? And then when we start solving that problem, we realize, okay, this problem is now a $5,000 problem, not a $2,500 problem. So now I'm going to sell $5,000. Now the goal would be to keep the same amount of people feeding into that because we can get more income coming that way. But a lot of times what happens is you don't need that many people because you're charging more, right? And most of the time you can go back to people you've already sold to or already in your world, say, here is the problem I'm solving for. Here is my new thing that I'm doing. And you will pick up clients that way as your low-hanging fruit. We do this. So once you are so efficient at solving that problem, like I said, you wake up in the morning before brushing your teeth, you're like, solved, done, let's go. When you're at that point, guess what? We pick the 2 or 3 items out of business B, we move it to business C, and we do it all over again. And we're refining. We're not adding more. We are subtracting and our income jumping. This is what's so critical. And I help my clients pull out all of this, figure it out, figure out the problem they need to solve that's bigger. Make sure it's a big enough problem so they can charge more. The goal is, what do you want? Do you want a lot of volume moving through, or do you want to have something that's $50,000 and you only have maybe 10 or 20 people a year and that's it, right? I know, like for my daughter, she wanted to be a psychiatrist, and I was telling her, okay, if you want to be a psychiatrist, I could totally figure out how to get you $1 million a year with like 10 clients, right? It's who you're speaking to, your niche, what you could build out, how you could do it. You could add books in there. And my daughter was like, whoa, mom, like I'm not even there yet. I'm still in high school. But my brain already looks at how can we jump income levels? How can we have a plan and a goal to make it easy? And so we really need to make sure that we're always income jumping. Because if you are not, you're going to be stuck at consistent sales and doing the same amount of work all the time. Because what happens is you have fear. You're so afraid to jump the next level because you know you have to do just as much work or more. Or you're thinking, oh, I got to create a new product, or I got to sell something different, or I got to find new people. That is exhausting. Now, I have been income jumping for, oh my gosh, 10, 12 years already, like big time. And so the way I look at it is you start somewhere. Once you solve that bigger problem, it's easy to go to the next one. How can I take it to the next level? What can I do to amplify this to the next level without more work, without more risk, without other things? Same thing in your business. When you're looking at your business, how can I make 5,000, 7,000, 10,000, 30,000, 50,000, 100,000 a year per client? Doable. It's people are doing it. I don't know if I'll ever get there because I really want to grow my society because I'm so in love with it. This is my 5th child. I'm so excited about it because it's something that I've wanted for so long. The goal inside of the House of Cortessa is if you need coaching and you need help, then I offer my services for $30,000 for a year. And you can get in there and get me, but you're also part of the society. But I become your advisor in your company and I help you do income jumping, ecosystem stacking. I help you do all these different things so that you're doing them effortlessly. But the biggest kicker, so taking all of this, the 3 systems back together, right? Let's stack them, right? They're talking about the stacking. If you are not enjoying what you're doing, if you don't have fulfillment, if you're not enjoying this journey, that is my number 1 priority with you. You have to enjoy the journey. Okay. So why do all this, Christina? Okay. The transformation is we are in hustle mode 24/7. I was searching YouTube for topics. Is this a cool topic? Nobody talks about this. So it probably won't land for a while until more momentum happens, and that's okay. Because it's so important to talk about it, then I want to talk about it. It needs to be said. You do not need to be working 60 to 80 hours a week. You do not. 15 hours a week is super doable, okay? We take these 3 systems, we stack them together, we make them work. You can be off enjoying the journey. You can be enjoying your life. Go stand and watch the bird playing in the puddle. That was like the coolest thing in the world. It was beautiful. But I had the capacity to enjoy that. I wasn't stressed. But when do you get to actually go enjoy your kids? When do you get to have those crazy conversations with them about girls and cooties? And it was just his facial expressions. He was like, no, like you knew he was saying it. These are moments when you are on your deathbed that you are going to remember and you're going to cherish, right? Or like my 13-year-old son. This kid is my size. He's almost 5'8", and I'm sitting there tickling him and having fun with him. And these are the moments that I want to remember for a lifetime because soon they're going to be all out of the house. I want to be able to enjoy those moments before they're gone. So I encourage you to really think about this video and understanding that 15 hours a week is absolutely doable to make multi-millions. But we have to think of these 3 systems that I talked about. The lazy effect is critical. Ecosystem stacking is absolutely a must. That's internal and external. And then you have income jumping strategically to get you to where you want with less effort, less products, less offers. Well, thank you today for hanging out with me on this video. I love this topic. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you liked and make sure to subscribe. I am almost at 300 subscribers and I'm so excited about that. My goal for the first half of next year is to get up to 500. So help make that goal real by sharing this with a woman who actually needs to hear it. Thank you again for joining me. I always appreciate you. I'll see you on the next video right now.